Okay, I'm going to show you how to use groups in Moodle. Um, so in Moodle 2.8, if we want to create some groups in this Moodle course, we'll go over to Users and then select Groups over here. Okay, and right now you can see I don't have any groups or groupings, and we'll get into what groupings are in a minute. So what we're going to do is create some groups randomly. So we click Create Groups Randomly, and then we have naming scheme right here. If we click on the little question mark, we can see that the @ symbol may be used to create groups with names containing letters. The hash symbol can be used to create names containing numbers. Okay, so that's fine. I want the groups to have letters with them. Okay, we're going to auto create based on number of groups. So our choice here is we can either have members per group or numbers of groups. I'm going to go ahead and put numbers of groups because this is my test site and I don't have very many users in right now. Okay, so let's say I want 5 groups. So I'll put 5 there. Here you can probably leave this as the default. Student, allocate members randomly. Or you have a couple of different choices here by ID, last name, first name, last name. We'll just leave it randomly. Or actually, I'll put them in no allocation since there's only me and one other person in this group. And you probably want to select this prevent small last group if you are assigning students in the course. And for some reason it's not letting me, but that's okay. So we'll just say randomly. And then grouping of auto-created groups. You pretty much always want to put your groups into a grouping, and this might be sort of counterintuitive, but a grouping is, let's say you have groups A through E. Well, you want to put all of those groups into one batch, and that batch of groups is called a grouping. And Moodle needs to know that all of those groups are together so that they can, when you're creating an assignment later, that the groups will be placed together in the assignment. Okay, so we're going to create a new grouping, and for this one, since we're doing alphabetically, I'm going to call this A through E. Okay, we can preview it. There are only 2, and this is telling me there's an insufficient number of groups, so we'll just say no allocation here. This is telling me since I only have 2 students in my course, I can't have 5 groups, so that's fine. We'll click preview again. Alright, so there are my 5 groups. I'll click submit. Okay, now you can see we have these 5 groups and we have one grouping, and it tells us who is in each group, what groups are in that grouping, and it tells us the number of activities that are associated with that. Okay, so if we go back to my site, I'm going to turn editing on, and we'll add in an assignment, and we'll call this test group assignment. Description. Okay, we don't need any additional files. We'll leave all of this under group submission settings. Students submit in groups, we'll say yes. Require all group members to submit. If enabled, all members of the student group must click submit button for the assignment before the group submission will be considered submitted. And we can leave that as no, so that the first time a student submits anything, it'll just count. Okay, and here we have, this is the important part, and this is why we created a grouping for our groups. So grouping for student groups, we want to select A through E. And all of the rest of this stuff should be fine. Okay, so that is how you create groups, put them in a grouping, and then assign that grouping to an assignment. It's through this group submission settings. Select the grouping once you've created the groups and the groupings. Then you save and return to course. When we look at that test group assignment, and I might have checked the wrong thing here. We'll double check on that because I saw it said there was only one group there. No, it's good. So, students main groups. Yes. Okay, so that should be how you set the assignment up to count as groups.